Every once in a while I get a outstanding piece of wood. This is a Claro Walnut burl with some beautiful, amazing figure. It's got an ash back that I hollowed out, drilled out some holes to lighten it up. I carved the heel a little bit here, the neck heel, so I get a little bit better playability, and a brand new bottle of Tru-Oil. So we're going to put maybe about 5 coats of this on, and this is going to look outstanding. I always love putting Tru-Oil on first couple times and just seeing that wood light up. So this has been sanded down to 600 grit, and I want to show you guys a beautiful guitar top. This is some of my favorite stuff to do. So we're outside here today. It's a nice day, so you'll be hearing a lot of trains, cars, and some lawnmowers. Put that first coat on nice and thick. You can see what a beautiful top this is. A lot of voids in this wood that I just left. Enhances some of that beauty of the piece. I got this burl many years ago. You can see this pic here. Could use this to embarrass my daughter later. But it was a 1,000-pound burl from Oregon. And you can see the beautiful figure coming out of this piece here. I can take whatever I have left over from the front and move it to the back, which is why I've got a hold stick here. Whole body's been sanded down to 600. A lot of fun with this. So I go really thick on that first coat, let the wood soak some of this up. It's a really outstanding piece of wood. Coming in a minute. So let this first coat dry. 24 hours, and I'll come back and put another coat on. No.
Alright, so it's 8:30 Sunday a.m. Let this dry for about 12 hours and you can see it's completely absorbed differently. Here I've got some spots that it didn't absorb. Here it absorbed and is now dry. The back actually looks fine. Not a burl, it's just a piece of wood. Burl's always dry, a little bit odd. So for the second coat, same thing as the first coat. Just going to apply some of it on, let it sit. The third coat we will get some steel wool and begin to even it out a little bit. But you can just see how beautiful this piece of wood is. This absorbs pretty evenly. You can just see it. I love the waves of the grain coming in here. Really neat looking body. Still absorbing a decent amount of oil. I would never use a sanding sealer on a burl top. I think that ruins what the oil looks like. Specifically for burls, I will just put straight Tru-Oil on and leave it. Make sure I don't get any runs on the side. Come back and I'll put another coat on the back later. Make sure these voids are sealed. So squeeze a little bit more oil in there. One little spot on each side here that is drying up really quick. So most likely that's spongy. So you can see by the time you get to that second coat, this is sort of already dry. It's soaked in. I'll see guys use super glue in some of the voids sometimes. Depending on the burl, may not like that color. Tru-Oil is a little bit yellow, and I want to keep this consistent. So we'll just stick with Tru-Oil. My brother has used velvet oil on burls like this. I haven't had as much luck. He's got a little bit different finishing process, and he goes through probably as much velvet oil as I do Tru-Oil for some of his furniture that he's making. But I stick with Tru-Oil. So here we're looking pretty good. Don't have any streaks. Just a little bit of tackiness. So I don't want to put any more oil on. We'll call it. There's one outstanding top. In the sun here, you just see all those different colors. A lot more red than I was thinking. Alright, we'll wait another 12 hours, see what this looks like.
So I had a water bottle here that started to drip in this spot right here. So we're going to get a little bit of steel wool. We'll rub some of this out. We'll just do this on the rest of the top too. This is a coarser grain steel wool, so I'm going to go get the fine grade, come back over here. See, I left some scratches here and there, so we'll get a finer grade. Here's some fine grade steel wool. So I'll pull out any scratches from that other grade. So now we've got an even layer. I'll come back on and do the third coat. It should pop really nice and start to get a little bit more glossy. Here we are, coat 3. This will take a little bit more Tru-Oil, but for the most part the grain is sealed. See how the Tru-Oil goes a little bit longer of a way because the pores are sealed. You can see this a little bit shinier. Some of the cracks here are starting to get filled in. At this point, with a little bit heavier of a coat, if you flip this upside down and leave it, it'll sort of leak out. So you want to make sure you're keeping this the same way. Keep the surface the same way as you're applying it, because I can see here a little bit, there's a little bit of oil in there. And this figure is really, really outstanding. Just make sure the edges are clean here. So as this is starting to soak in, what we can do is one quick rub across the body. Try and have big strokes like that. What you want to avoid is something like this, where you leave a little bit of surface material. If you rub it in really fast like this, you can get to not leave any scratches or anything. And that's coat 3. Alright, so this soaked up pretty good. We're going to come back now and start wet sanding with 600 grit. That'll help fill any little pieces of grain. And allow me to get that mirror finish. So a much lighter coat now. Trick with doing this is to just keep on moving. Don't spend too much time in one spot. It's dried up pretty good up here. When you do this, the finish gets really thick real quick. Sort of hardens up. So you gotta keep moving or add a little bit more oil. What I like to do is take one more thin coat, wipe it in. You can see it's becoming a little bit smoother in certain spots. We'll let that dry, come back tomorrow morning. I'm going to clean this off with steel wool once more. Now we're getting some real even coloring across the top. Steel wool just make sure we continue that even color. Brush off. Come back with a rag. Spray some Tru-Oil everywhere. And now I've got really even color, really seeping in nicely across the board. Real light coat. And we'll leave it. And that's it. That's a really nice, even, thin coat. And we'll let that sit. Getting really close to perfection. Got to be careful. So real light coat. Come back tomorrow and put another light coat on. But I think I'm getting really close to being done with this.
Alright, so if you've made it this far, thanks for watching. We're going to take the guitar body over to my buffer. And after this is dried for about 20 days, a couple weeks, I've got some Mernza buffing compound and some big 12-inch buffing wheels. And I put this together, been using it now for a number of years. We'll put the compound on the wheel, start looking at it, seeing what it looks like. I actually go straight to the buffing wheel here. I don't wet sand it with Tru-Oil. I've done that in the past. This time it didn't look like I needed it. So letting it dry, it really solidified. Tru-Oil sometimes takes a little bit longer to gas off. So letting this dry for about 3 weeks really helped. And that last coat went on really thin, so there's really nothing that I need to do with it. So we'll just take this to the buffer. I've got my GoPro on, and we'll hold it pretty heavy in each hand. Got a pretty good grip on the body, and we're going to take this through and just buff this out. So we'll just slowly move it back. You don't want to keep the guitar body in one spot. You want to slowly move it. If you leave it in one spot, you'll generate too much heat, and that heat will weaken the finish, and you don't want to do that. So just back and forth, buffing out the body, move it around, and just check and see how it's looking. Here you can see how well this is taking a buff. This is definitely one of the better bodies I've worked with in terms of the Claro figure. I have a tough time trying to see how this looks from the camera, so I'll make some adjustments with the camera, make sure that it's actually pointing on the body. So rub this back and forth. I'll let you guys watch the buffing here. So once we're done buffing, we'll wipe off any of the excess buffing compound. Took a bunch of different pictures here with different lighting, and I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Beautiful figuring, side looks great, nice color contrast. That's why I went with the ash back and the burl top. We'll drop a neck on here and assemble this. I'll put that in another video. But thanks for watching, guys. Uncut, unedited, to see the whole process from my point of view. So thanks for watching. See you in the next vid.